What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are apparently in the, well, reveal period, I think is how I want to phrase it, for BT10. Reveals, it seems like, are going to be coming thick and fast, and I am absolutely delighted. And today, I want to start off with one of those adorable Digimon from Digimon Ghost Game, because why would I not? It's Angoramon and all the cards around it, and these look fun. Translations from the lovely folks at digimoncard.dev and the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming. So, we've got a Bosamon, and I believe, and do correct me in the comment section as always if I'm wrong about this, I believe this is the first time we've actually seen this. We've had Angoramon a couple of times, but we've not yet had the Digitama. What we have here is an inheritable skill once per turn. When a Digimon comes suspended by an effect, this Digimon gains 1000 power for the turn. And I hate to break it to you, it ain't that special. And it makes me really sad to say that. I want it to be special. I want it to be this big, gigantic, impressive thing. But it's not, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. Gaining 1000 power using a Digitama is fine, but it's not like we don't have green Digitama that'll give us an extra 1000 power. We got a bunch of them, you know, Tanamon way back in BT1 did it if you did evolve this term. Motamon from the starter deck gives it to you if you're a level 6 or higher. So, it's just not terribly exciting. I will say that suspending your opponent's Digimon by effects, that is exactly the kind of thing green does. You know, we've been doing that since way back in BT1 when Flower Cannon came out. And that was, you know, the quintessential green option card. But the fact of the matter is, this is, not terribly exciting. It's fine, don't get me wrong, and a lot of green decks are built with lots of effects that will allow you to suspend your opponent's Digimon, and this will be a perfectly serviceable Digitama in those decks, but I don't think it's anything special. Now, as for Angoramon itself, free cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2000 power, all fairly standard honestly for a level 3. On your turn, once per turn, when you play a green tamer, draw a card. I like this. This makes me very happy. Remember, hybrid decks are all the rage right now, at least over here. And green hybrid is a legitimate thing. So now, essentially what happens is every time you play a tamer, you draw a card, and in a hybrid deck or a tamer heavy deck, this is awesome. Do bear in mind it is on your turn. What that means is that if your opponent attacks your security and they reveal a tamer, that tamer will be played for free. That's what happens. However, it's not on your turn, it's on their turn. You won't get to draw a card. I really like this. I love the idea of just letting one of these dudes just sit there chilling, and anytime you play a tamer, you get to draw a card. Depends on how many tamers you're playing in your deck, obviously. And it depends on a whole bunch of other things, but having a draw engine which is coming out every time you play a tamer, if you're playing enough tamers, is good. I worry you're not going to play that many tamers though. Like with tamers, oftentimes we're crossing our fingers they come out of security, so I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. It's good, but you've got to be playing a pretty tamer heavy deck in order to really make it work. Oh yeah, also on your turn, once per turn, as an inheritable skill, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw a card. Yes! Now this is again on your turn, so when your opponent attacks, you don't get to draw a card, but if they block, you do. Because if they block, it's your turn and they become suspended. Boom, draw a card. Or if you play something like Flower Cannon or anything else that will suspend them, boom, you get to draw a card. I kind of like Angoramon for the static skill. I really like Angoramon for the inheritable skill. That seems like it's going to fire, honestly, a lot more than the regular skill. If you want draw in green, I am certainly, I can't tell you I'm going to put this in all of my green decks as a 4 of, but I absolutely can tell you I'm going to start testing it heavily in green decks. This seems like the draw engine. I don't know if saying that I've been waiting for is a bit of an exaggeration, but it's certainly one that's going to help a lot of green decks. SYMBAREANGORAMON, I'm sorry for that pronunciation, we've got a level 4. Probably a natural evolution thereof, I think it's fair to say. 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 6,000 power. Nice. That'll do. It's also kind of interesting that the level 3 is a rare and this one's a common. Although I do think the rare is really good. Is this any good? Eh. Yeah, it's fine stats-wise. But on your turn, once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain a memory as an inheritable skill. And you can see where we're going here in terms of the evolution line. You can see that we're working up here quite nicely. And this is going to work, if this is where you're going. Now, at this stage, I think it's fair to say what we really want to do is try and make it so that our deck is suspending our opponent's Digimon. I think that's how we're really going to get a lot of value here. But let's say we've got a level 5 that's Digivolved from both of these cards. All of a sudden, I suspend one of my opponent's Digimon, or it becomes suspended on my turn, maybe they've blocked, whatever, and I get to draw a card and gain a memory? You know, Flower Cannon all of a sudden becomes a 1-cost card that suspends one of my opponent's Digimon and draws me a card. That's good. If my opponent blocks, they've got to give me a card and let me have a memory just in order to block. This is a very good skill, and I think when you put them together, I think we are at that situation where you're looking to combine them. You don't have to combine them, of course, but I think a lot of the time you're going to be looking to do so, and I really, really like this. I think this is really, really good. Again, I think using a pair of these together is good, and I think if you're doing it, you really do need to be focusing on a deck where you have options to suspend your opponent's Digimon, but the idea that my opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, I draw a card and gain a memory, that is very enticing. And do remember, if you've got like a couple of level 5s that both have this level 3 and this level 4 under them, then all of a sudden your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended and you draw 2 cards and gain 2 memory. Because there's nothing to say you can't use more than one of these skills in your turn. It's just once per turn per Digimon. And this gets good, ladies and gentlemen. This gets good. Moving over to Tamers then, we do have a Tamer. It is Ruli TSUKUYONO. And that is, of course, the Tamer who, well, she's got this evolution line. It's all thematically appropriate. 4-cost Tamer at the start of your turn. If you have 2 memory or less, set it to 3. It's fine. It's a skill we've seen like a million times on a million different Tamers. It's not particularly new or exciting or unique or anything like that. Doesn't mean it's not a good skill. Doesn't mean it's not a nice skill. Doesn't mean it's not going to see a bunch of play. It means that your opponent trying to leave you with 1 memory to start your turn, and let's face it, we all do it where we can. It means that stops ending up being an option. It does, in a weird way, these skills actually open things up for your opponent a bit more, because knowing they can't leave you to 1 memory, they've got to leave you to at least 3, will lead them to make some moves they wouldn't have made otherwise. Can occasionally backfire, but generally speaking, it just means you're not starting your turn with almost no options, and that's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. We like this. Then, on your turn, when you attack with a Digimon that has Angoramon in its name, like the level 3 and 4 we've already seen, or is a level 5 or higher, you may suspend this Tamer to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 power or less. And at this stage, it is all starting to fit together really rather nicely. Because what we've got here is a Tamer, which works with this evolution line, although I really like that it's all level 5 or higher. So I can have the level 3 in play, and that's fine, or I can ignore this evolution line completely and just have a level 5 out, or 6 or 7, and that is, again, fine. I really appreciate this. This makes me very happy. And I get to suspend one of my opponent's Digimon with 5,000 power or less, which firstly means I can attack them, because remember, you can only generally attack suspended Digimon, or maybe it's a blocker and now they're not allowed to block anymore, or maybe I'm just, because they're going to unsuspend at the start of your opponent's turn regardless, maybe I'm just activating my skills. Maybe I'm attacking and suspending this Tamer to gain a memory and draw a card, or potentially gain multiple memory and draw multiple cards depending on what's going on. This is good. I like this very much indeed, and if you're playing a suspending kind of deck, and a lot of green decks are, this is really going to help. And then we can finish with a nice appropriate option card. It's Pyon Dump. 2 cost. One of your Digimon gains piercing. That is to say, when you attack an opponent's Digimon in battle and survive, you also get to perform a security check. None of this choosing whether you're going to attack a Digimon or security, you can do both. And then if you have a Digimon with Angoramon in its name, or a Digimon with Angoramon in its Digivolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Well, of course it does. This whole point of this whole line I'm showing you today, it's all about suspending your opponent's Digimon and gaining advantages for having done so. But you know what? It works. This is good. Piercing is good. Suspending your opponent's Digimon is good. And of course, the goal here is to put those two skills together. You suspend one of your opponent's Digimon so that you can attack them, but you give the Digimon with whom you're going to attack piercing, so you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, attack them, take it out, but also then get to perform a security check, so you get to get rid of a nuisance without having to give up your security check for the turn. Yes. Absolutely, all the way, yes. This is good, ladies and gentlemen. This is very, very good. So there we go. Lots of interesting things, lots of exciting things, lots of things to get a bit excited about, I think is fair to say. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these. I want to know if you're going to be playing these, if you think these green suspending decks are getting way better. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/BTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.